welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Kellie de Leon with Treasure Data, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Brigette Guyer, the Director of Data Governance at the Wendy's Company. Hi, Brigette.
Hi, Kellie. So great to be here with you.
Thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us. I'm excited about our conversation to kind of explore all of these different topics that are so relevant for today.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you have seen an evolution of interest and support from the C-suite in particular, not just, maybe the technology leaders or security leaders that might have sort of always, had this as part of their focus, but curious if you've seen, any evolution over time about sort of interest or support around sort of data privacy in other areas of the C-suite.
Well, yes, absolutely. Obviously our business leaders are very interested and aware of sort of what we're doing, how we address our compliance requirements, how can we enable them to meet their objectives. So, I focus there on our sort of tech and security partners, but our business leaders, I think, are, for them, it's kind of driving or it's really supporting what they're trying to do with the digital transformation and enabling them. So they're, I think they're very aware and, again, very interested in how do we continue to develop and ensure that we're enabling our business and really kind of meeting those needs and interests of our customers. Even so much in our ESG, where we're thinking about what are the expectations of consumers with companies, and I think we see data privacy and security in there. So across the entirety of our C-suite, I think there's interest in again, awareness. It's just depending on which function we're talking about, they kind of have a different interest in sort of what aspect of is really driving or sort of specifically helping them meet their objectives.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This next one's probably a bit of a loaded question, I'll admit, but I would love your take about sort of how can organizations future-proof their data governance strategy?
I don't know if it's a loaded question, and I don't know if I have the the most interesting answer, but to me, it's very important that your governance and privacy management are not just policies. Mm-hmm. I think it is so important for a governance strategy to actually be effective and operational, and it needs to be dynamic in that it kind of is continuing to work with the business, with the objectives of the business, continues to work with technology. I really think that's how you future-proof your governance strategy, is you make it relevant to your business and your business partners. Because if not, you're a policy and you're a whole bunch of really cool concepts that aren't necessarily functioning or effective with the organization.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. And I think, it comes down to, back to how do I make this matter to each of the individuals' business objectives and what they're trying to accomplish in each of their own areas. And then obviously, how does that ladder up to our overall enterprise business objectives, and whether that's how we serve customers or where we put them first or whatever our other business or growth goals are. So that makes a lot of sense. we've been touching on this and talking about it a little bit here and there, but I want to transition us to talking a little bit about digital transformation. I think, digital transformation is one of those phrases or buzzwords that has almost become something that gets thrown around a lot. And we've created, such a noun about it that you feel like it's a thing you do, and then maybe people expect for it to be done. But I think it's one of those things that the nature of transformation means it's always going to be, continuing and evolving. And we've certainly seen the acceleration of that over the last couple of years, the acceleration of innovation and the acceleration of digital transformation. And I think, certainly many companies are still earlier on in their digital transformation process. The events of the last couple of years might have, accelerated the need and the importance of something that maybe had been on the roadmap but hadn't been in high gear yet. But certainly they were left with no choice but to accelerate some of that digital transformation process and get some energy behind that. For someone in your role who's been navigating this for a really long time, I'm wondering if you could, give some advice to folks that are maybe a little bit earlier on in their journey. How should a leader who's, kind of earlier on thinking about digital transformation, how should they be thinking about where data privacy and governance, fit in their digital transformation?
Yeah. I think for me, going back to what are the business objectives? What are we trying to achieve with the digital transformation? It's going to just be core to everything that I go back to. But I think it really sort of drives the discussions and how you talk to it and think about where data governance and privacy fit into that digital transformation. And then again, really thinking about ways to integrate whatever governance you're doing or any privacy related technical solutions or privacy related processes that's being integrated into the sort of digital transformation, what's coming out of the digital transformation, what solutions there's with that, what products the organization is rolling out, whatever that might be, integrating it into it and sort of making it inherent to that process. It's built in there by design. I think that really trying to influence leaders to see it as it's not a bolt-on. It's not something that you do after the fact. The more that you integrate it, then the more that you're going to get that foundational trust in the data. We know what data we have. We know where it's at. We know sort of what the data's purpose is, how we should be using that data. We want data so that we can make good business decisions. We want to think ahead and make sure that we're sort of anticipating what's going to be happening. And then again, sort of the integration into these processes so that as legislation changes, as we have new privacy expectations, that's kind of built into any of the processes. I think for a digital transformation in sort of that crossroads with data governance and privacy management, that's really the thought leadership or sort of that influence with those leaders that I would really try to establish and encourage them to think about how can we just build it into what we're trying to do.
Thank you so much, Brigette, for this conversation. It's been really great to learn from you and your perspective and all of the ways that you're thinking about navigating this really complex environment that is changing so rapidly and such an important role that you play. So thank you for joining me today for this conversation. And, for those of you who are watching, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.